Okay. Jonathan, great to meet you again.
Good to see you.
Last time in Paris, this time in London. It's funny. One question about season 4, or like one question about the series in general, is you're now in season 4. You're about to shoot season 5, so then it's like 6 and 7, and then it's over. Do you expect people to watch the series even though season 7 is over? So for the next decades, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I hope so. I think it's a story that is going to continue to touch people's hearts, you know, as they discover it. You know, I think it has the potential to outlive me even. You look at films that have been done 50 years ago and people are still watching them, you know, because they're so impactful.
Yeah. Should do this with The Chosen too.
I hope so, yeah.
I think it's very interesting. Season 4, we saw it in the trailer, is very about like Jesus grieving. So you're normally doing method acting, you're the type of acting, you're very much into it. Can you explain a little bit how you do this, like being in the role, staying in the role?
Yeah, you know, so for me, I try to use as much of my own life that I can apply to the circumstances to basically to create the emotional stimulus to perform the scenes. And you know, for this season, there's a lot of sadness and grieving that you see based on the trailers, and a lot of heavy situations that happen in season 4. So it was emotionally, it was a very difficult season because it was a lot of that kind of emotion a lot of the time. So staying in character throughout the course of the shoot, only until the end of the shoot day. I'm not the kind of guy that goes home and lives in it, you know, 24/7, 24 hours a day. That's just, to me, that's just not how I prefer to work. I'm happy to stay in it as long as I can throughout the day, and then when I go home, I leave it at the office, you know. So I let it go, and then the next day, whatever the next day brings, then I'm back in it, whatever it is.
Okay, so if the process of Jesus doesn't affect you too much after you're done with the scene?
I mean, I think the character, you know, his character stays with me, you know, wherever I go, even after we're filming, and I think that's a good thing. I think trying to incorporate more of Jesus's attributes and his personality and into a person's daily life, I think is only going to help. But when it comes to, you know, scenes of grieving, you know, I don't tend to take that with me beyond whatever the day calls for.
Okay, sounds good. I think for the people it will be heavy seeing Jesus grieving. We saw it a little bit in season 3, but it's getting harder.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Why would you recommend people to watch it, even though it's maybe hard and maybe they will cry in a few scenes?
Because I think really good stories run the gamut of emotions. They represent all the facets of life, all the emotions of life that we go through as human beings. And I think people relate to grieving. People relate to sorrow, especially if it's people they love. You lose somebody you love, you grieve. And I think this just makes Jesus and all these other characters in our story more relatable as people. And so the power of what they did in history becomes that much stronger.
Okay. And do you think it's a difference seeing this like on my little phone in my home? Because it's an emotional series.
Yeah.
I asked you this last time in Paris too, but what do you think? What is the difference between the small screen and maybe watch it on television, or maybe even get the full experience in the theater?
I think shows like this are meant to be seen in the theater. The scope is so grand, it deserves to be seen in the theater. I wouldn't watch it on a phone if you paid me to. Well, if you paid me to, I might have to watch it on a phone. But no, if I had a choice to not watch something at all or see it in the theater, I would watch it in the theater because it's also you're now having a communal experience with people. You know, you're laughing together, you're crying together, and it heightens everything that you're experiencing in the course of the storytelling.
Okay, so people we'll see it on the big screen and have the experience.
That's the best way to see it.
Sounds good. I have one last question. I know that so many people think about what is in the backpack that Jesus always has on his shoulders. So I don't know, but what can you say? What is in this backpack? Sounds great.
Great to see it.
Thanks for the honesty.
Thanks, Lucas.
Sweet.